Right, here we go. Back again. Alright? And today I've got, well, it's basically a lockdown update because, of course, it continues. The house arrest continues. The mass house arrest. Let's face it, that's what it fucking is. And in terms of the UK media, 5 hours ago, Stoke-on-Trent Live, 9 motorists have vehicles seized while flouting lockdown rules. So they're now beginning to confiscate people's vehicles in the UK. And also, one day ago, BBC News, coronavirus, 13 arrested after 2 lockdown parties. So yeah, welcome to 2020. Won't be fucking partying anymore, that's for sure. And 10 hours ago, New Statesman, visiting family is the most common lockdown breach, polling shows. And of course, because of the lockdowns, people now can't see their loved ones and their family. Right, and it's actually heartbreaking. 6 hours ago, BBC News, coronavirus fishing struggling to survive lockdown. And that's in terms of the UK fishing industry. It's on its knees. Sky News 22 hours ago, the lockdown can't last forever, but caution will be the new normal. What a surprise, right? Teesside Live, why Teesside might be hit by a local lockdown if there's a spike in deaths. And we'll get back to that in a minute in terms of local. 23 hours ago, The Guardian, anger at UK lockdown easing plans that could put workers at risk. So people again are too scared to go back to work. BBC News 1 hour ago, this dude here, Professor Neil Ferguson quits government role after undermining lockdown rules. What a surprise. Another person that isn't practicing what he preaches. In the Daily Mail, cities could be treated differently to rural areas when lockdown ends 3 hours ago. And to expand on that, it says, we know that cities and densely populated places have a higher prevalence than rural places. So that is definitely the case, and an option that could be considered is to think about whether measures could be done locally versus nationally, he said. However, Sir Patrick said transport would be just one of the issues where problems could arise if the government adopts such an approach. Once you go to a regional approach, you effectively are saying that you are going to demarcate regions very carefully, and you've got to control the flow between regions, he said. But that is a possibility. And I read the rest of that, I'll leave it out. But basically what I got from it was that they might be looking at now isolating whole communities. So we'll keep an eye on that. And this is also in the tabloids. Britain could see traffic light system to release country from lockdown, scientific documents reveal. 5th of May 2020. And they're on about phasing out of lockdown, but they didn't fucking phase us into it, did they? No, of course. And the red phase, partial lift, small non-essential shops reopen, nurseries reopen, travel still discouraged. Amber phase, extending freedom. Some social distancing eased, schools reopen, small firms with up to 50 staff reopen, and the green phase, wider freedom. Pubs open with restrictions, masks still compulsory on public transport, cinemas and sports venues reopen. So things like the football and restaurants, they're going to be the very last to reopen, unfortunately for me, because I'm a big football fan. And I'm fucking gutted about that. And I reckon it'll be next year till that's back, unfortunately. And this is from Devon Live 1 hour ago. Devon and Cornwall could be among first to have lockdown eased. Right, so like I said, again, this is pointing at more focused on, rather, a community coming out as a community, fighting the virus as a community. And this is from the Financial Times 1 hour ago. Americans, $2 billion lockdown booze binge. Right? And this is basically a symptom of the lockdown. Everybody's now heading for the fucking bottle. And it was bad enough in Scotland before it. So yeah, it's times 10 now, as I'm sure you can imagine. And this also from the UK, 14 minutes ago in The Guardian, UK builders suffer worst slump on record amid COVID-19 lockdown. So it's not just the fishing industry in the UK, there's others as well that are now suffering. And this is from the BBC News again, 11 hours ago. Coronavirus, how might lockdown end and what will be, the new normal. Now, we've been seeing this everywhere now, and it's blatant conditioning, really, and programming at the highest level, because it's absolutely fucking everywhere. And we'll touch on the new normal in a minute. But in terms of shopping, well, they're saying that changing rooms could be closed and customers encouraged to shop alone, the British Retailer Consortium suggests. Next says it will prioritise reopening larger out-of-town outlets where social distancing is easier. Some DIY stores, meanwhile, have already reopened, but they are accepting card payments only and have shorter trading hours. And B&Q have banned under 16s. So if you're under 16 and you want to buy some gardening tools, well, yeah, you can forget it. You'll have to get someone else, all right? And it also says, in terms of, will I be able to see my family and friends? It says that not being able to meet up with family and friends is one of the toughest aspects of staying home. When a grandmother asked a Downing Street briefing if being able to hug her grandchildren would be among the first changes, Health Secretary Matt Hancock said the question brought home the emotional impact of lockdown, and he hoped she could do it as soon as possible. But just not fucking yet, of course. And this is another heartbreaking side of it, where families can't get to see each other, and people can't see their loved ones, and they can't even cuddle each other. It really does pull at my heartstrings, that. And in terms of the schools in the UK, some of the restrictions, well, they will bring this in without a doubt, and it is limiting class sizes, groups of pupils attending on different days, redesigned classrooms, and also staggered break times. So the redesigned classrooms, what will that involve? Are we now going to be putting kids into fucking some sort of cubicles? Right? God only knows what they'll come up with. But it'll be interesting to see, because all my kids are at school, all three of them, so I'll be keeping an eye on it. And in terms of air passengers and flying, they're saying that you will be wearing face masks on flights, and you will have to arrive up to 4 hours before departure for health screening and walk through thermal imaging cameras. And Transport Secretary Grant Shapps is also actively looking at quarantining people entering the UK, but trade body Airlines UK says this would effectively kill air travel. Yeah, damn straight it would. I'm not the best at flying, but yeah, that's enough to put me off it altogether. And like I said, in terms of the new normal, the phrase the new normal, it's everywhere. And society as we know it, it's gone. It's finished. That's been destroyed now. We're never going to get back to the way we knew it. And if you search the new normal, just the term, you'll see what I mean. It's absolutely everywhere. Possibly into the thousands in terms of articles, at least into the hundreds. And it's obviously blatant conditioning. And like I said, the world as we know it's gone now. And I think we're going to have to start saying that no, we don't want the new normal. And at some point, we're going to have to make a stand. So really, we should be looking into what sort of strategy we should be using. Yeah, I don't claim to have all the answers, but we should be looking at something now in terms of taking these politicians possibly to court for their actions. But we'll see. We'll touch on that another time. But this is also everywhere at the moment, and that's facial recognition. And of course, facial recognition aid launched to help compliance during virus. So of course, this kind of technology is going to help combat the virus, the spook virus, of course. And in terms of Africa, well, I touched on it before about the food shortages, and I'll link in that video in the description to this, but this is out today. Coronavirus, most Africans will go hungry in 14-day lockdown, 6th of May 2020. And I said it was bad before. Well, it's even worse now. And it's not looking likely that it's going to get any better, I'm afraid. And in places like Nigeria, it's seemingly really, really bad now for a lot of people, unfortunately. And I did see this as well in The Spectator. Dr. John Lee, could the lockdown have side effects no one has considered? Question mark. This virus is still evolving. Yep, good fucking point if it is. And I picked out a couple of bits, and he says that so lockdown might actually be slowing the tendency of this new disease to get milder with time, which raises an important question. Might the lockdown be causing more harm than good? In this way, as well as many others, are our actions really helping overall? Or are they opposing a helpful evolutionary tendency of the virus, as well as economically hindering our ability to deal with it? The epidemiological models are silent on this. What's worse, their predictions of how the virus behaves will be inaccurate if such an effect is present. Right, so the fact that we've went into an immediate lockdown might have hindered the process of how humanity deals with such viruses. And yeah, that's a very good point. It does also say that, or would it have been even better to adopt what's often described as the herd immunity strategy and let the virus continue to circulate among younger, fitter people, diminishing its severity while doing our best to protect and support those with greater vulnerabilities? Should we be rapidly reversing lockdown to help the virus help us? In this view, spread of the virus by people with no symptoms is a good thing because it helps the virus get milder more quickly. We have embarked on a drastic path without even considering the possibility. Now, more than ever, we need robust and open discussion about whether we are on the right course. Yeah, damn straight, and I couldn't agree any more with that. It really does need looking into with possibly an independent investigation, but the chances of that happening, well, I think I've probably got more chance of becoming the Pope, to be honest. And look at this guy here getting his KFC, and try not to get too close, of course, while getting his poisonous chicken. Right, and I did see this. This is fresh off the press. UK coronavirus live. Boris Johnson says he wants some lockdown easing to come into force from Monday. So that's a wee bit of good news, I suppose. But at the same time, we really need to be making a stand against these criminal politicians like Boris Johnson. Of course, he's right up there when it comes to criminals. And like I reported on before, we're heading into a cashless society. And I will also link in that video that I done on the disappearing of cash. And it's in the news again, surprise, surprise. Will coronavirus kill off cash? Yep, because it's been in the plan fucking all along. Alright, and I did see this, Business Insider, 29th of April. 170 cybersecurity experts warn that British government's contact tracing app could be used to surveil people even after coronavirus has gone. Oh. Now who'd have thought it, eh? Our government doing a thing like that. Surely not, right? Anyway, in terms of the lockdown, that's it for now, okay? And that is about it. Bye-bye.